What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. I'm Gamer Bloodline, and in this video I'm basically going to go over for you guys the weekly reset, some news from last week, this week at Bungie blog post, as well as previewing their upcoming live stream tomorrow that's actually going to be happening, and I actually have some predictions that I want to throw out there. But first things first, as you guys may see, New Monarchy are the winners for this week's faction rallies. They actually won, so you see their flags flying high in the tower. I was actually able to grind down a Warlock this past weekend and pledge to New Monarchy, so I'm still able to grab that sword for 1,000 glimmer rather than waste 50,000 and then have to get my glimmer back. So next up, I'll go right over to the milestones. So as usual, our milestones are reset. So this week's flashpoint is on Titan. Make sure you pick up Cade 6 treasure map so you can hunt down those chests and, you know, get his stash on Titan. You can look for a guide, my guide every week. You can look for that soon. The Nightfall for this week, it has been reset as well as Shax's Call to Arms, so playing Crucible matches, as well as Clan XP, and the Leviathan raid, of course. So for this week, the Nightfall is on Titan as well. It is Savathun's Song, and the modifiers for this week is Momentum and Time Warp Anomaly. So next up, I guess we could run over to Tess and see what's new for her inventory. And boom, so we got the Don the Hat emote, rare emote. We got the Shoulder Dance legendary emote, Noble Steed Sparrow, Deadfall legendary ship. We got the Takenon Wings or Takenon Wings exotic ship, and then we have the exotic ornaments for the Vigilance Wing, which is Book of the Dead. We have the Under Construction exotic ornament for the Tracer Cannon. For the Optimacy set, we have the class item. We have a Bold Shell Ghost as well as a Twilight Ghost. And then we have the Armalon Meteor Gloss shader, whenever this wants to pop up. Okay, so these things are taking long, so let's go. Monochromatic shader, and then the Indigo Matrix. And then as well as the Fighting Medallion, so I love to pick those up when I can. So next we'll run over to Ikora Ray. Alright, so we run up to Ikora Ray and we're going to check out the refresh missions for her. So the meditations for all for this week are the mission 6, Sacrilege, and Looped. So, you know, I guess those are like heroic versions of the missions, but you can collect tokens. You can get tokens from those missions to actually turn into Ikora Ray to boost up her reputation and gain that armor set. And as I mentioned, New Monarchy here are the winners of this week's faction round. Next up, I wanted to share some news that I got from this week at Bungie blog post from last week. I actually didn't do a Destiny 2 weekend review this past week, as there was pretty much only really 2 news items of note. And the first one being that starting this Friday, November 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific, and that's 1 p.m. Eastern time, is the first clarion call. So that's a clarion call. So if you guys don't know, clarion call is basically, you know, Destiny's version of double XP for the weekend, a double XP weekend that they are releasing because in season 1. So, you know, every 3 months, you know, Destiny is going to call every 3 months, every quarter is going to be a season. So, you know, December 5th is the end of season 1 and then begins season 2. So Bungie announced at their TwitchCon panels a few weeks back that they will be releasing clarion calls or double XP weekends that would allow us to collect, you know, rewards, let's say right engrams from Tess Everidge, because her stock is actually going to be refreshed and different come season 2. So the double XP is for all activities done with a clan member in your fire team. So if you're not in the clan, you don't get any double XP. So they're really pushing, you know, people joining up in clans. They mentioned on a blog post that, you know, if you prefer to play solo, or if you're just not in the clan for whatever reason, you didn't join a clan, that they will be releasing double XP weekends or clarion calls in the future that does not require a clan member to participate. So they didn't really give any information or note as to when that will be. They didn't say whether or not, you know, it would be 1 clarion call per season or 2 or 3, who knows. But this first one requires you to have a clan member in your fire team, and you'll gain double XP for doing every single activity. So Crucible strikes, public events, etc., etc. Also, so as I mentioned, season 2 will begin December 5th with the launch of the Curse of Osiris DLC. And as another thing happening December 5th with the Curse of Osiris DLC is the reset time is actually going to change. So the reset time typically is 1 a.m. Pacific, which is basically 4 a.m. Eastern. And starting December 5th, the reset will be at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 12 p.m. Eastern. So reset for all these events and activities and these milestones is actually going to change into, you know, not early morning, but, you know, morning time, while some people may be at work, or, you know, for streamers and things like that, you know, content creators, they'll be able to, you know, get this content pushed out at a better time, I guess, so they don't have to stay up till 1, you know, in the morning to produce content for us. The other thing is tomorrow, Wednesday, you know, November 15th, is Bungie's first live stream about the Curse of Osiris DLC, which again launches December 5th. And this live stream is taking place on their Twitch channel at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And this live stream is titled New Stories to Tell. So, you know, I figured it would be a good idea for me to kind of lay out some predictions that I may have over it. Bungie also released a new trailer kind of teasing this live stream, and I'll play that for you guys now.
There's been a development on Mercury.
And you think Osiris might be involved?
I predicted many things, but I never saw you.
So yeah, so I haven't really had the time to sit down and kind of dissect that trailer, or, you know, really go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but it looked pretty much as, you know, the same kind of things we saw in it, aside from that in the very beginning, that Vice grenade launcher that, you know, that's a new weapon for sure. So we will be getting some new weapons and armor obviously in this DLC, but the live stream is going to be focusing on new stories to tell. So first, let me preface, or, you know, put a disclaimer out there that I don't have any information, or, you know, I'm not pretending to know any inside information. These are just predictions, or they're actually more like hopes and dreams of the things that I hope is included in this live stream. But, you know, since it's titled New Stories to Tell, obviously we're going to be learning the story, you know, more of the story of Osiris, you know, throughout the campaign and the adventures of Destiny 2. And even in Destiny 1, they definitely hinted at Osiris as a character. But I feel like there's also other characters that's connected to Osiris that I'm hoping that we actually learn more about, in addition to learning about the Vex. So I'm predicting that we'll also get more information about the disciples of Osiris. So we know Brother Vance is a character that is part of, you know, one of the disciples of Osiris, and he'll be returning. But you know, Brother Vance, as well as Ashamir, and Ikora Ray, and Erish Morn, a character from Destiny 1, also has ties to Osiris. So I'm thinking that we'll see the return of several characters that we know about. One being Erish Morn, okay? Two, this is really kind of far-fetched and out there, the Exo Stranger. The Exo Stranger showed up in Destiny 1, really a mysterious figure. Showed up, warned us about the Vex, and then kind of disappeared. The story was not fleshed out at all. She didn't have time to explain why she didn't have time to explain it. We don't know anything about the Exo Stranger, other than she is not a Guardian, because she did not have a ghost, and she was able to jump through time, kind of like the Vex do. So, you know, Osiris, you know, in his lore, he was known or rumored to be in several places at once. So, you know, they know something about Vex technology and Vex, you know, abilities and skills that is, you know, that we're not too sure about. So I'm predicting that the Exo Stranger will make a return alongside Osiris, as well as another character in the lore of Destiny 1 or Osiris, who is Saint 14. So Saint 14 is a Titan who was tasked with hunting down Osiris by the Speaker. So I'm hoping that, you know, we see a return of Saint 14, or at least get, you know, at least in the adventures that is also part of this DLC, we get teasers that he's still out there, or I don't know, something of his fate, just to kind of tie up loose ends for, you know, people who who either follow the story or, you know, just to tie up loose ends, basically. That's what I'm predicting that they'll be doing with this. Another thing, or another group that I predict will be a part of this expansion are the Sunbreakers. This is an Order of Titans, which is basically, you know, where we get the subclass, the Hammers, the Sunbreaker Hammers in Destiny 1. So the Sunbreakers, I honestly don't really know much about them other than the fact that they're on Mercury as well. So the Sunbreakers take up house up on Mercury. They were also part of, I guess, the, you know, Disciples of Osiris, as he kind of hired them to, you know, help him out with his pilgrimage or whatever it is to Mercury. And that's also, you know, kind of where we went to retrieve our Sunbreaker ability in Destiny 1, is to Mercury. So being that Mercury is the main place that we will be going throughout this story, I'm hoping that we'll hear from the Sunbreaker. So those are pretty much my predictions overall on the things that hopefully is either explained tomorrow or teased. But even if they're not explained in full detail, hopefully Bungie does throw some teasers out there, or someone, you know, in chat would ask a question about these things, because I feel like these are loose ends in Destiny lore, or characters that, you know, are really cool that need to be more fleshed out. That would be awesome for this DLC. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video, guys. My apologies if I rambled on. I wanted to throw this prediction out there, kind of cover the news, and of course the weekly reset. But now that that's all pretty much out of the way, if you enjoyed this video, do drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're feeling my vibe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.